Help, our website is hacked. Have you dealt with this issue before? Well, we have multiple times, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. So in this video, I'm going to share you some fundamental knowledge of security to help you understand how we can improve your WordPress, ensure that it doesn't get hacked so easily. So let's get to it. All right. So imagine like an onion. WordPress is just like an onion. It has layers. Every single layer, there's a critical role that has to be played to ensure that the website is working well. All right, so the first layer is the visitor and admin. So these are the people who have access to the website, whether it's the front end or the back end. So typically, in most cases, it's just a very easy browser, and that's about it. And then the second layer is the DNS, where this is being routed. Your domain name is routed to an IP, which goes to a server. All right, and then from your server, this is where you host your WordPress. Okay, so the common mistake of security is that admin uses weak password like password 123, password 24, or Edwin 123. So this kind of password is easily hackable, and it doesn't take that long to figure out, but it depends also on the length of the password. So you might want to set a stronger password to ensure that you don't get hacked easily, and most cases this is what typically happens. Okay, and then second, there's no DNS protection. So without any WAF, there's no protection whatsoever. If you just bought a domain and then you just rely on them to do the configuration, and basically you don't have any protection for DNS. And then the third one is that your server has no protection at all. So if you buy a server from cloud hosting and there's nothing is being done to it, and you just install WordPress from the get-go, so chances are that you have no security protection whatsoever. And then finally, you rely too much on WordPress plugin. So if we look back at our layers, is you don't have blockage on the first part, the second part, and the server, and you rely 100% on WordPress, it's going to be a slow website, yeah? So where do security breaches happen? So typically it happens in 4 areas. So when a hack happens, and we also have to investigate, where does this happen? Where does this start? And this is where we need to find the hole and plug it. So there are gaps between these securities, okay? And sometimes it's just not being captured, sometimes it's not well. And that's why you need some sort of mechanism to capture all these breaches. Similarly, if you look at cache, this is where it happens. So sometimes you edit a website and then it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look like how you edited. So the cache may happen at the DNS level, or the server level, or sometimes at the browser themselves. So this typically happens with Chrome and Safari. Yeah, Chrome based is pretty common, yeah. So when we look at caches as well, we have to clear at all these 4 layers, and then probably might be able to see what you update at the same time. So for WordPress security solution, what do you need to do? Okay, for the admin, in some ways you can use 2FA, two-factor, which means that you have to use another app or email to ensure that you authenticate the user properly. And this is quite a tough thing to apply, because I personally don't like to use 2FA. When we use 2FA, there's a lot of mechanism involved and not really what I want. The second option is have a stronger password, which is that easy. Just make sure that get people to use characters, capital letters, and then numbers. It should be good. And then finally is having a secure connection. Don't try to edit your website at the airport where people can hack through Wi-Fi, and always use HTTPS. Right, for the DNS level, try as best as possible to hide your IP. Okay, and then block with Firewall, use rate limiting. Let's say a user requests 10 pages simultaneously at a single time. So that is weird, right? So this is where rate limiting comes to play. So you generally want to limit someone at probably 5 or maybe 3 per second. So if they're doing more than that, then you know that they're probably scrapping your website or trying to find gaps so they can hack you. And finally, you have Web Application Firewall. It's just somewhat similar to a firewall, but it's an application by itself, and there are companies that just build this product. When it comes to server, there isn't much that you can do. You can install something like an antivirus, malware scanner, all that, but it's just going to slow down the computer, and which in turn, we're just going to slow down the interfacing between your visitor and your WordPress. And then finally, when we talk about WordPress, there are actually 4 things that you can do. You can use a firewall, you can use a blockers, you can use scanners and cleaners. All right. So when it comes to Firewall, what you want to do is you want to block dodgy traffic, or you want to do geolocation, block by location, and you probably want to block certain IPs from trying to enter your website. So some of it doesn't make sense. For example, like if another server is trying to enter your website, and we know that this is a server IP. So it makes no sense for a server IP to go into your website, because if your website is built for a user, it should be for people and it shouldn't be for another computer. When it comes to blockers, it's somewhat similar to a firewall, where a firewall you actually block those unwanted traffic, but this one is, you know that they are legitimate traffic, they come in, but they start behaving weirdly. For example, they try downloading every single thing on your website. And if you try to go to Facebook and you just try to browse many pages at one time, just click open new Facebook pages all the time, eventually it will tell you like, hey, are you a legit person? And then it will tell you to stop doing this. So this is what you do. It's more of a behavior control rather than blocking the users. And then you have scanners, where it's a tool where you check the legitimacy of your file against the original by plugin publishers. So if there's any differences, you should know by using scanners. And then finally, you have cleaners. So the files that you scanned just now are bad bots or being edited by someone else, someone changed it, allow for attacks to happen. You use cleaners to either block them or contain them. The common question that I get from a WordPress community is, can I install multiple plugins for security? Sure, you can, but not beyond 4 or 5 plugins at a single time. What this does is it probably does the same thing, and you don't want that to happen because it's just going to slow down your server and your website altogether. It's just going to make the browsing unpleasant. Second, which plugins do we use? All right, so if we go back to this, so make sure that all your plugins have either a firewall, blocker, scanner, and cleaner. So you can have one. So you can have a total of 4 plugins, and you can find this easily just like WordPress firewall, WordPress blockers, WordPress scanners, WordPress cleaners, and you're set to go. So I don't generally recommend a particular brand. You can figure this out for yourself and pick which one is easier for you, which one is easy to configure, because we all have different kind of tastes and different kind of budgets when it comes to maintaining WordPress. So what are the most important steps? Right, so the number one step that everyone almost forget to do is backup the website. As long as you have backup, you're fine. Right? Even if you get hacked, you still have all backup, you can just restore it. But if your website is moving constantly every single day, adding new content, you have user generated content, so you probably might want to backup every single hour or every 6 hours. So depending on how frequent your content changes day-to-day basis. All right, so that's it from me. So if you have any question when it comes to WordPress security, feel free to ask me in the comments below, or you can probably just go to our website, webcare.co, and just send out an appointment with me, and then we can have a talk, we can have a chat, whether we can help you in managing your WordPress. All right, until then, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe.